Hi, we are talking about number 11 now on test 1, section 3 of the official SAT study guide. And if you were looking at the videos on test 9, you know that we just talked about systems of equations. And here we have another system of equations of sorts, but it is a word problem. So let's take a look at this one. In the equations above, B and C represent the price per pound in dollars of beef and chicken, respectively, X weeks after July 1st during last summer. What was the price per pound of beef when it was equal to the price per pound of chicken? So although we have two different variables right now, B and C, let's take a look at those. So right now we have two different variables, right? We have B and we have C. But they're telling us that the price per pound is equal, right? So let's take a look at our whiteboard and see how we would solve this one. So we know that beef price per pound is $2.35 plus 0.25x, which is the number of weeks, right? So it's increasing each week. And the chicken is $1.75 per pound plus 40 cents per week. And we want to know, when do these two equal each other? So what we want to do then is set, sorry about that. What we want to do then is we want to set those two equal to each other, right? So there we go. So we have the beef equal to the chicken. And we're going to see, when does that happen? So what we want to start with is combining like terms, right? So let's get our x's on one side. A lot of students tend to move their x's to the left side and move their numbers to the right side. And it doesn't matter which way you go. What I do is I don't like to deal with negative numbers. So I look for what way is going to help me avoid negative numbers. So if I move this over to the right instead, I've got a bigger x and then subtracting the smaller one. So I'm going to be left with positives. And the same thing is going to happen with my dollar amounts here. I'm subtracting $1.75 and I'm subtracting $1.75. So I'm going to be left with positive values, which are easier for me to deal with. So I'm combining my like terms. So the x is canceled out here. That should have been an x. 235 minus 175. So I'm left with 60 cents. And over here, I've got 40 minus 25 cents. So I'm left with 15 cents. And don't get thrown off by the decimals, right? Because here you can think of it the same way that you would think of 60 minus 15, which just equals 4. So that's the number of weeks, but what they wanted to know, we always have to go back to our question, right? So our question said, what was the price per pound of beef, right? So let's go back to our beef equation and plug in 4 for the x. Now really, since they were equal, it wouldn't matter which equation you plugged it into, but to be in the habit of going back to your equation and going back to your question and making sure that you're using the correct equation is a good habit to get into. So 235 plus 25 cents times 4 for my X was $1, and I get 335, which is answer choice D.